Good afternoon, everybody. It's 5 o'clock on Tuesday, which means it's time for math. My name is Jeremy Jasper from KathleenJasper.com. And for the next hour, we're going to do all things math for your teacher certification exams. Every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern, I go live right here on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. So please, I'm excited that you're joining me live. And if not, this is getting recorded. And so you can go ahead and watch this on demand. We have 10 questions that we're going to go through, just like we do every Tuesday night. You can find them linked below on either the Facebook or the YouTube channel that you're watching from. And then you can follow along with me, or you can do all the problems. And then if there's one that you need assistance with, go ahead and fast forward to the video and then watch the explanation for it. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure everybody is on the correct platform, if any, and hopefully I'll give everybody a second or two to just log on and get everything situated. Make sure, just like always, I'm gonna say it 100 times, make sure you've got your calculator handy. Make sure it is a calculator and not your phone. Remember, when you go to sit for your exam, you're not going to be able to use your phone. So don't use your phone while you're studying, and make sure you know which calculator that you are going to get during your test. And you can find that on any of the information pages for whatever test it is that you're taking. Another thing that you should have by your side is scratch paper, because you are not going to be able to write anywhere on the screen, obviously, and you're not going to be able to, just like you would as you're studying, write in a book, right underneath the problem. You have to get the practice of learning how to see the problem on the screen, write whatever information you need below on your scratch paper. So those are the two things that I always tell you to get. And those are the three things you should always have at your side while you're studying, no matter what. Okay, you've got to prepare yourself for that test and put yourself in the same environment that you would during test day. So let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. It's already April 19th, and this isn't that crazy. I know everybody's getting anxious. We've got finals coming around and getting ready for all of that sorts of stuff in the next few weeks. And the next thing you know, the school year is going to be over, and then we do it all over again. So my goal right now is just to get you to pass your math section or math portion of whatever test that you're taking. And so for the next 10 problems, it's just going to be an overview. It's a pretty good generic overview of, a little bit of what you might see on an elementary, middle, and high school test. So nothing too difficult. I don't have anything, I think, upper level math. So this is going to be strictly like a general type of test that you're taking, which is either the Praxis Core or another type of general knowledge test. And then also any of your elementary tests that you'll be taking, those basic math skills that you'll need. So math is what we usually focus on here. I know some people ask about the teaching processes, and if you have any questions concerning that, send them in and I'll go over them. But most of these questions were sent in from the viewers, and so that's how it works. You send me the types of questions that you want to see, and then I'll go ahead and go through them. So the first one we have here, a little bit of geometry, but nothing too crazy. Okay, just basic geometry skills is what they're going to assess you on, unless you're taking an upper level math test and beyond. But for the most part, everybody should have some sort of general knowledge of geometry. So this first problem says lines S and T are parallel and line U is a transversal. Find the value of X. Okay, so there's some things I want to point out. First, this word transversal here, and then this obviously parallel. Whenever you have parallel line just means that there are two lines that run right next to each other. Oh, why am I not getting my, that run right next to each other. hold on. Oh, that's why. Sorry about that. That run right next to each other. Okay. And never touch. So that's what parallel means. Essentially, they have the same slope. And then when it says transversal, a transversal is a line that intersects with at least one pair of parallel lines. You can have it intersect with as many lines as you want, but you'll notice that it intersects this parallel line here and this parallel line here. Well, there are special properties when you have a line that intersects parallel lines. That's why it has a special name, and that name is a transversal. What that does is it makes each one of these intersections exactly the same. Okay. So if I were to draw this out, so let's say I'm going to just kind of do this a little bit bigger than what they have. This is 124, and this is where X is, and they want me to find X. Well, if I box this out, see if I box this out here, I have 4 different, I don't want to say quadrants because they're not exactly the same, but they're broken up into 4s. So, I mean, kind of technically they are. So understand that this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just randomly putting those there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If I were to do the same thing up here, do you see how there's still 4 quadrant? 1, 2, 3, and 4. What I'm telling you is that all of these intersections on this transversal are exactly the same. So look at bottom right. If bottom right is 124, that means this is 124. And if this is X, then this is X. And then really you could go opposite angles, which are called vertical angles. So X and X are here, 124 is here. You can do the same thing here, 124 and X. So you can really fill out the entire thing if you needed to, but you don't have to. So what we need to do is we just need to find X because that's what it is. But I just wanted to show you how the properties work for a transversal going through parallel lines. So now that we know a little bit about that, let me go back to our original. So this is what we had. So I know that this X is here because they're called corresponding angles. If this one is at the lower left of this one here, then the lower left of this one here is also X. It's called corresponding angles. With the 124, again, it's corresponding. So they're right next to each other. So whether you put it there or you put it there, you know that they are next to each other. If 2 angles are on the same straight line and are next to each other, there's a name for it. So from this point here, right, we have this angle, and then it's attached from here to this angle. Well, a straight line is 180 degrees, right? So that means this angle plus this angle equals 180 degrees. All you have to do is take your 180 degrees that you always have for a straight line or linear pair, and then start taking away whatever values you have. So 180 minus 24 is going to give you 56. And so that missing angle is going to be a 56 degrees. So that would make sense then if I put 56 here, that's 180 because 56 plus 124 is 180, right? If I did 124, then that's 56 and it all works out. Okay. All right. Next one. We've got a mirror has a diameter of 14 inches. What is the circumference of the mirror to the nearest hundredth of an inch? And they give you all these values. Just basic circle properties. So as soon as you see the word diameter, you know that you're dealing with a circle. And then what is the circumference of the mirror? Okay, so how do we find circumference? Usually for a question like this is just a one-shot question. Do you know how to find circumference? Most of your tests will supply you with a reference sheet. And on that reference sheet, you should have formulas. So you'll have circumference is equal to diameter times pi or 2 times pi times radius. It's just a matter of what they give you in the problem. They can give you either or. In this case, they gave us diameter is 14 inches. So that means I'm going to use this formula here. So then really all you do is take your 14 times 3.14. And when you do that, you get 43.96. And usually they'll give you numbers that are pretty close to this 43.96 because it said round to the nearest hundredth. And whenever you're taking pi, because pi is an irrational number, which means it goes on forever. When we cut it off at 3.14, we're actually, we're I don't want to say shortening it, but we're taking less of its true value. So you may not get the true answer if you're taking it out, especially to the hundredth of an inch. But I'm more concerned about the first two numbers, because if you look, 43, the only answer that's got a 43 in it is B. So whether it's in the ballpark, that's what I call it. If you got an answer of like, let's just say you got 41.72. Well, if you look, the only thing that's anywhere close to this value is B. So sometimes when you have to, not estimate the values, but just simplify them, then go ahead and just look at the answer choices and let them guide you. All right, next one. We've got the graph shows the amount of money earned over time. Okay, there we go there. Which equation represents this scenario? So we need to find the equation of the line. So it depends, and this is where I want to show you a couple tricks. If you go to like your math teacher or you have a math tutor and they're not familiar with standardized testing, then they're going to make you do a whole thing for this problem. And what I mean by that is we've got the equation of a line, the slope-intercept equation of a line, where I need to find slope and I need to find y-intercept. Okay. So what they make you do is you can pick 2 points. So if you pick 2 points, you'll get slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you have to pick a point. So let me just pick, let's do that point there and this point here, because they cross at all nice and pretty on the lines. So this point is 2, 100. And then the other point is 6, 200. Ooh, that's bad, 200. Doesn't matter. So then you'd have to take this, put these into here, find your slope. Once you found your slope, then you can take any one of these. This is X, this is Y. You can put X into here. You can put Y into here. You can find your Y-intercept, and then you'll have your answer. That's a lot of work. They give you the graph for a reason, and then they don't do it. They design these questions so that they can be solved in the proper amount of time that you have to solve them. If you don't know what that is, go to your test spec page or your test blueprint page or whatever, you'll find the information about your test. And if they say, you know, math is 150 questions, if you get 150 questions and you get, let's just say 3 hours to do it. Well, 3 hours is 180 minutes. So if you do 180 out of 150, and I'm just pulling these out of the air, that gives you 1.2 minutes, right? 0.2 of a minute, that's a fifth. That's like 12 seconds, okay? So you get 1 minute, 12 seconds. If this were the case, I'm just trying to let you know you have a certain amount of time. Usually it's about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, whatever it may be, but make sure you figure out how much time you have. Timing is important for these tests. Timing is what makes a lot of you all fail because you just take too long to do some of these problems and you get frustrated. And next thing you know, it compounds and compounds. So you get to the end of the test, you've got 10 problems left with 2 minutes to go, and then you're just scrambling to answer. So you have to really practice your time management. Slope, Y-intercept. Put these up again. Y-intercept is easy to find on a graph. Here's why Y-intercept is easy to find on a graph. Here is your Y-axis right here. And very important, make sure it's at the 0, 0. Sometimes these aren't at 0, 0 and you just got some random graph, so be careful. But for the most part, they have to put a 0, 0 there. So the Y-intercept is the point at which the line crosses the Y-axis. Well, here's our line coming here, and then look at that right there. That's our Y-intercept, okay? It's a lot easier to figure out when you have a graph because it's that point right there. We also have to take into account how they are labeled. Look at your Y-axis. It goes 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1. Well, there's still a line in between here and here and here and here, and they do that on purpose. How are you going to figure out what that is? Well, from 0 to 20, and there's 1, 2 segments. If I do 20 divided by 2, I get 10. So each one of these is 10. So this is 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and so on and so on. This point is at 0, comma, and our Y-intercept, right? Y-intercept is always 0, comma, and then your Y. Well, I'm at the 0, which means I'm only on the Y-axis, and I go up right here, which is 50. So when it says the Y here, that's the 50 part. This number now goes into here, okay? And that's how we find our Y-intercept. So that's the easiest one to find. Let's go ahead and label that as so. So I'm going to get rid of that. And we've got 50. This should be the first one you should find because it's the easiest to find, especially when you're given a graph. Then you go right to your answer choices. And you say, okay, which ones have 50 as the Y-intercept? Because with slope, you can always reduce slope sometimes because you may find it in a fraction. And it depends on what point you take. So when you see the equations here, these are all the simplified form. So if you're doing something where it's not so much big numbers, and that's why they use these big numbers because they're easier to work with, if you can believe that. So these 50s, all 50, 50, 50, those are good. This is a no-go. So at least I have eliminated one of the answer choices, okay? So that if I have to take an educated guess, I've increased my chances of getting the problem right, okay? Next, let's look at slope. Okay, another thing that you can use the answer choices with is positive or negative slope. Is this a positive or negative line? You know positive and negative by starting at the 0, 0 and reading from left to right. If I go in an upward direction, then I'm a positive slope. Starting at 0, wherever it is, it's the Y-axis, okay? Or just your leftmost point and going to the right. If it goes down, so if you read from left to right, right? Just like you read a book, you read from left to right. If the line is going in a downward motion from left to right, it is a negative slope. Well, this line right here is a positive slope because from left to right, it's going in an upward direction. So anything that has a negative slope is not going to be the right answer. This negative 25 right here is a bust. So now I've eliminated 2 answer choices with doing very minimal work. I was just explaining all that stuff before, but really doing minimal work, looking just at the graph, I'm able to eliminate 2. A lot of the times, you might be able to just find the right answer just by doing these 2 things, finding the Y-intercept, and then if it's a positive or negative slope, because, you know, that's how they design these questions sometimes, whereas how much of a full understanding do you have on how all this stuff works? So now we come to the point where they need to find the slope. And the slope is just the rate of change. how much does it take for me to go from one point to the next point, right? From one number to the next. So in relation to your X, so for my hours, for every hour, right? How much do I increase? Well, it goes from 50 to here. Well, that's not good enough because that's right in between. I can't really tell what that is. So that's why you want to find two solid points. It doesn't matter where they are. So we'll just use this right here. I'll use 2 and 100. And then the next one that I see is right here, which is 6 and 200. So I don't really worry about the X, right? I'm worried about the change in Y over X, right? That's what slope is. M is the distance, or the distance. M is the rate of change, Y over X. So if I have 100 here, and I go from 100 to 200, okay, and that's a difference of 100, right? From 100 to 200 is 100. And then from 2 to 6, how many does that get me there? That's 4. So that's 4, okay? So 100 divided by 4 is going to give me 25. My rate of change is 25. Now, just remember, you know, essentially you did the slope formula, that y2 minus y1 is, but I just feel like it's easier to do it, right? If I go up, what am I going to do? I go up right here. So from 100 to 200, I go up 100, rise over run. You ever hear rise over run? And then from here to here, and be careful because these are going by, remember I told you these are going by tens, and these are going by halves, right? So 0, 0.51, 1.52, and so on. So you got to be careful when they make these graphs because they do make them like this on purpose because they think you're going to count wrong. So from 2 to, that's why we have the 4 here, right? So from this point here, 4. You can always count rise over run, up or down, over, left or right. Let me put that here, rise over run, okay? And then we've got 25. 25 is going to represent our slope. The only one that has 25 as our slope is D, okay? All right, pretty simple there. A lot of information. If you need to rewind and go back, then please do so. But whenever you're given a graph just like this, you can find all the information on the graph. Don't waste your time doing all the crazy formulas and picking 2 points and using the actual formula for it. Just count, always count, rise over run, find your y-intercept, so on and so forth. Okay. Kate surveyed the senior class at her high school to find out if they prefer to go to the movie theater or a school sporting event on their Friday nights. Of the 75 students she randomly selected and surveyed, 24 said they prefer to go to the movies. If she has 800 seniors at her school, how many seniors could she expect to show up to the sporting event this week? So whenever we're comparing, like I chose so many people out of my senior class, or I chose so many people out of an event, and then the whole event, what if I did it, if it were, you know, let's say I pick someone out of classrooms and then I compare it to the whole school. What you're doing there is you're using proportions, okay? You're, so in proportions, you will always notice a few things. Usually it'll say you're picking something out of a total of something, but you'll also see 3 values. You'll see 3 values, and then they'll always ask you, like this one says, show up to the sporting event. The last question will always ask you the 4th. So in order to find a proportion or make the proportion, you need 4 things. Well, in a problem on a test, they're going to give you 3. And with those 3 things, you're going to be able to have enough information to find the 4th. So let me go through how we figure these out. We do a little something called matchy. So what does that mean? What that means is that's going to help you match up the correct values so that you keep everything in the right place so that you're going to get the right answer. When they talk about it, so just read the problem. It said of the 75 students that she randomly selected and surveyed, 24 said they prefer to go to the movies. So it's written a little backwards, which is good because we're so used to seeing them written right out the gate, just as, and what I'm talking about is would say 24 prefer to go to the movies out of 75. If there are 800, how many expect to go to the sporting event? Okay. Movie theater or oh shoot, did I read this wrong when I did it? Okay, hold on a second here. And this is sometimes, and this is a good learning experience because what I think I did is I used this as movies. So let me figure this out because we are both taking this together live. So Kate surveyed a senior class find out prefer to go to movie or school sporting. So here are your two things, movie or school sporting. Of the 75 students she randomly selected and surveyed, 24 said they preferred to go to the movies. So I've got, for my matchy, I've got movies over my total. And I use total on this one as a generic because it's of that class or whatever she surveyed. So if I go movies over total, well, then that means I've got, here we go, 24 movies, 75. Okay, so we go to movies. If she has 800 seniors at her school, how many seniors could she expect to show up at sporting event? That's what got me, and that's my fault. So this is going to be the incorrect answer. Let me see if I even put it on there. Oh, damn, I really got me on this one. And this is an example of reading through the problems too quickly. All I saw were the three numbers, 75, 24, and 800. And I just went through and I did it. So here's where I made the mistake. I said to myself, okay, I've got 24 out of 75. How many can they expect with 800 seniors? What I didn't do was understand that this 24 represents movies and they want to know sporting. So what I did, and like I said, this is a learning, we all make our mistakes. So I said 24 out of 75, and then I know there's 800 seniors, right? So if I know this, X is going to be my missing value. So let me do this here. So now how do I find X? Well, I feel like once we get to this point here and we create our proportion, everybody knows what to do. The old cross multiply and divide. Let me clean this up. That looks terrible. So I got 75, 800. So what I do is I take the calculator, and this is what you should do just so you don't waste a lot of time. You know that you're going to cross the two numbers first. So I do 24 times 800 and hit equals in the calculator. And I just leave it there. The only number that's left, because remember, cross multiply and divide, the only number that's left is 75. So just hit divide 75 on your calculator and you get X is equal to 256. And then it's in your calculator or you write it down and then you got it, you look over and you would pick B. Now, here's the problem. Did it ask for this specifically? It did not. It asked for sporting event. So this is actually wrong. So if you're paying attention to this video and you've already done the problems and you're just looking over to see the answer, I put the incorrect answer in the answer key. So I hope nobody freaks out on that, and go ahead and email me if you find it. I'm sure I will get a couple of emails on this one saying that there was a mistake, and I'm happy to accept that and accept the mistake, but that's okay. This is why we do this, so that I can show you that we all kind of make these mistakes and watch out for them, because these questions are written a little tricky. So what I should have done was understand. So I'm going to show this longhand just so you can see it. So that's what I want you to do. What I said in the calculator, 24 times 800, put it in equals, then hit automatically divide 75, and you got your answer there. It looks like this: 24 times 800 equals 75x. 24 times 800. So you should have got 19,200 equals 75x, 75. Oh, come on. X is equal to 256. Now, what does this 256 mean? Remember right there, and I even wrote it right down there. I didn't even think about it because I didn't do that. I didn't do exactly what I said as I was going through these when I was making up this slide presentation. So this means movies. What did they ask for, right? This is movies. They asked for sporting. So at this point, what you can do is, you know what the movies are. It's 256. You know that there's a total of 800 students in the class. You can do 800 minus 256. Yikes. Sorry. Sometimes I drag this pencil. 800 minus 256. And that's going to give you 544, right? Does that make sense? Because if 256 watch, because you have to pick one or the other. That's the deal with one of these things. It's one or the other. So if 256 go to the movies, that means the rest out of that 800, so subtract it from 800, go to the sporting event. So that is totally my bad. If you did the answer key, or if you did this and you're looking for the answer and it's not there, then that is totally on me, because I read it wrong as I was going through, and I found the answer for the wrong one. Okay, but that's still okay. You can still figure this out this way here. The other way to do it, if we did it the right way, or if I would have done it the way, if I would have read it right the first time. So hold on, because it's asking you. So if I had, so we've got 24, let me do it right here, 24 out of 75. That's how many went to, out of 20, said they go to the movies. So 24 was movies, okay? Then that means if I'm looking for a sporting event, well, I just do 75 minus 24, and I get 51. So that means 51 went to the sporting event. So then now my matchy becomes sporting over total, and I get the number 51 over 75 is equal to X over 800. Now, when I find my X, it's going to be related to the sport. So in my calculator, 51 times 800 equals 40,800. That's equal to 75x divided by 75. And we get 544. And remember, that's what we got the last time when we subtract that 256 from the other one. So I apologize. I did not give you the right answer choice. We're going to make it E 544. Okay. And I will make a note of that. I'll put that at the end of the presentation. That was problem number 4. 5. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Next one. Problem 5 says, what is the range of all integers greater than 40 and less than 99 that are multiples of 3? Okay. So sometimes these questions can be tricky because you read them and you're like, wait, what do they want to know? Range, and then multiples of 3. And it's kind of like, what? So what is range? Range says take the highest minus the lowest, and that's your range. So couple of tricks we can do here is if we're not quite sure, well, I know range, I know we've got 40 and we've got 99. Well, all integers, that means it has to be, in this case, it's got to be a whole number. There's no fractions or decimals. Okay. So between 40 and 99, it's got to be greater than 40. Well, what is the next number greater than 40? The next number greater than 40 is 41. And then less than 99. It can't be equal to, it's got to be less than. So we'll do 99. So that's our range, essentially from 41 to 99. We'll define range. We do, let's just subtract them, 99. 99. Well, let me just do this. You know, you got these numbers here. We don't have to make it pretty. This 41, just subtract 41 and you get 99 minus 41 is equal to, you see, you get 58. Okay. But what they're asking for are multiples of 3. So what I can do is at least, because if it's 99 and it's 41, those are the limits. And what I mean by limits is if 41 and 99 were the two numbers that were multiples of 3, then 58 would be my answer. So if you look at the answer choices, it can't be 60, right? Because 60 is too much. You'll never get a range of saying. What I'm banking on is this is the highest number I can ever have for this question. And this is the lowest number I can ever have for this question. So if that were the case, it cannot be 60 and it cannot be, excuse me, 59. So does that make sense? Because it's 58 right now at its lowest. So that's just doing quick math and eliminating some of these, because now we have to understand, well, what do we mean by multiples of 3? That's kind of weird. So we take these two numbers, 99 and 41. If I do 99 and I divide by 3, I get, yeah, that's right. 99 divided by 3, I get 33. Because this is a whole number, right? I know that this is 99 is a multiple of 3. It's not going to be the number 33. It is the 33 times 3 is 99. So that's good. The goal is to not get a fraction. So that's good. So I know 99 is my number. So I'm going to put 99 here. And then now I'm going to find out what my next multiple is. I'm going to take 41. Don't want to do that. We're going to do the same thing. 41 divided by 3, because remember, we have to find multiples of 3, which means it's divisible by 3. 41 divided by 3 is equal to 13.6666666. So how does this help me? Well, what this says is 41 is not divisible by 3. And it gives me 13 as my whole number, but I got 666 after it. So now, how am I going to find out what the next multiple of 3 is after 41? I take this and I bump it up to the next whole number, which is going to be 14. Remember, it's divisible by 3. So now let's just multiply by 3. And when you do 14 times 3, you get 42. Okay. So I know that, oh, I'm sorry. That's why. Hold on. Let me go back because I just did the, why did I do that? I'm so sorry. I looked at it and I knew that it was working, and that's why it drew me in. All right, let me stop. 42, we're good at 42. Let me roll back because, again, I looked at the 99, and that's why they put 99 there. Remember, we're looking for multiples of 3, and I saw that there, and I don't know why. I thought in my head I put 98, but I didn't. Stand by here. That should be 98. Why should that be 98? Because it can't be 99. It's got to be less than 99. So 98 is our, so sorry. Man, I really, oof. 98 has to be the highest possible value. Why does 98 have to be the highest possible value? That is because 99 can't be, even though they gave that to me. And that's why they put 99 there, because it's a multiple of 3. So you're looking at it and you're like, oh yeah, I can do that because it's a multiple of 3. So that is incorrect, because it should be the 98. Let me just fix a few things here. 98 minus 41, it's 57. Okay. So if both of these numbers work, then yes, it would be 57. So that's why we can still count those out. Let me get the, okay, now we're back on track. Let me get rid of this. That should be 98. Sorry, guys. That should be 98. Okay, now we're back in the game. So recap. I picked 98 and I got 41. Those are the limits, because it has to be greater than 40, less than 99. This is the next number less than 99, and this is the next number greater than 40. So 98, 41. As I do 98 divide 3, I get 32.66666. Same thing applies on the 41 that I did. Well, I know 32 isn't going to work out, right? So I've got to go down 1. If I go up 1, it's going to be too much. Remember, I got to be less than this 99. So what is the next one down from 99? Well, it's going to be the 32. So in this case, it's 3 times 32, which is going to give me 96. Okay, does that make sense? Or you can see that this is 99. 99 divided by 3 gives me that 33. So then, I'm sorry. Yeah, it gives me that 33. So it is divisible by 3. So then just go ahead and do 99 minus 3, which is 96. And 96 divided by 3 is 32. That's how we know that it's a multiple of 3. So again, sorry about that. I hope I didn't really confuse anybody on this one. So now I've got less than 99, the multiple of 3 less than 99, and the multiple of 3 greater than 40. They happen to be 96 and 42. So now take 96, subtract it from 42, because that's how you find range, and you will get the answer 54. And 54 is A. Oof. Okay. I'm so sorry about that. I wish I would have gotten that a little better for you. Let me just double check, jump over on my Facebook here. I want to see if anybody commented, because again, I apologize if there was anybody that I totally confused. Okay, doesn't look like anybody has any comments. So that good. You guys aren't yelling at me yet. That's okay. I deserve it. We got the right answer anyway. Let's move on. All right. Problem number 6. Problem number 6, we have the figure shows rectangle ABCD. Which of the following must be true? So what we have is this rectangle here. They say it's a rectangle, which means there are certain properties to rectangles. Rectangles say that opposite sides are equal. So opposite sides are equal. You have 2 different sides with a rectangle, right? That's why I put these 2 congruent marks here for the left and right, 1 congruent mark for the top and the bottom. Then we also know that these lines, which are the diagonals, these are also the same, right? These are all the same size here. So that's why I put 3, right? 1s go with 1s, 2s go with 2s, 3s go with 3s. So those are the quick properties of our rectangles. So now let's go through and see what they say. This means angle, right? I know it looks like the less than sign, but I didn't have it on the computer, so I used the angle measure. So we've got ABC. So from A, B, C, and it looks like that's that right there, is congruent to ABE. So A, Yeah, A, B, E. So that's this one here. Let's do a different color. That would just be this here. So is that blue angle measure the same as the red angle measure? No, that's not. Of course not. So then let's do the next one. I've got angle AEB. So AEB, AE, where am I? AEB, that's this angle here, is the same as BEC. So BEC, let's do red, BEC, okay? Just because the diagonals are the same length does not mean they open up at the same angles. Blue angle AEB is smaller than BEC. I know it's smaller because I know it's smaller. Look at how it opens, because it's the shorter side of the rectangle, but that's all you know. You cannot tell by how much smaller it is. So we know that these are all done. We can't use them. Next, we start going by the line segments. So we have AB is congruent to AE. AB, so that's this side here, is the same as AE. And AE is the diagonal here. Well, this is not the same as this, because if I were to bring this down, it wouldn't work out that way, okay? Because we don't know what the length is, and those aren't congruent anyways. So that is incorrect. So gone there. Oops. The next one is ABBC, ABBC. Nope, because that's a left side and a top side. That doesn't work. Process of elimination says it's going to be the last one. And we know it's going to be the last one because when we look at it, I've got AB right here, CD right here. Opposite sides are the same. That's the correct answer. Okay. So make sure you know your properties of your shapes. In this case, it's rectangles. So just know that. All right, this one. Which of the following statements are true for all positive numbers R, S, and T? Indicate all such statements. So this is going to test you on kind of your order of operations. But I like this one because it's letters, it's not numbers. And then some of you on your test, it will have this, indicate all such statements. So you will get this question right based on if you choose the right answers, and it could be plural. So all of these could be correct. 2 of them could be correct. 3 of them could be correct. 1 of them can be correct. Okay. So you got to choose the ones that work. So we're just going to go through and we will go ahead and work them out. So I've got R times, that's time. So if we're rewriting it, and this is a good thing that we can do. I don't like it when they use that old school multiplication sign because it can confuse me as I'm reading the problems. So I'm just going to rewrite it because you have to rewrite it anyway if you're going to work it out. I'll do the little dot multiplication. So that times, I've got S plus T, and then equals S plus T times R. All right. So the way that this works is if this R is in the front here, right, then it's just like it's attached to it. So then you would distribute because you can't do S plus T. They don't go together. So this would go R to the S. So I've got RS and then plus R to the T. And we've got RS plus RT. This one says S plus T and then times R. Well, even though it's on the right side, it's still the same thing, right? This R is kind of attached to this right here. So we just do the same thing and we distribute, I'll do it this way, RT plus RS. Oops. Even though they're not in the right order, right? This is still RS plus RT. This is still RS plus RT. Doesn't matter that they don't end up in the right order. If you would have distributed the RS first, the RT, you'd have RS RT. Either way, go ahead and this is the same. So we can say this one works. Okay, RS plus RT. So that's good. That one works. The next one and again, you guys will do these faster. I'm just explaining them as I go. But we have R plus and then S minus T equals R plus S minus T. Okay. So again, with this one, what did I do? I've got R plus S. So what's going to happen here is I've got RS. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Because I got the R plus here, you don't distribute that. It's just R plus S, and then the plus and the minus, because this plus is here, minus T, right? So then the same thing goes here. Now let me see. Because the RS, this is minus T behind here. So I've got equals the RS comes out, RS, because it's just here, and then minus T. Okay, not equals. Only because this one, see how it had the multiplication here? That's why I distribute it. This T I don't do anything with, so it's just the value R plus S, and then subtract T. So again, as you look at it, oops, that's not the eraser. As you look at it, left and right, R plus S minus T equals R plus S minus T. That's going to work for us, and we like that one. Okay. So then we do the next ones. I've got R times S plus T, and then equals R times, oops, R times S plus T. Okay, let's distribute. I've got RS and then plus RT. And then see how this is R times S? Well, just do it. R times S, and then we have plus T. Well, if you look at that, that doesn't work out because I've got a single T over here and not a single T over here. I got RT. So this is not going to work. Okay. And then again, doing it in your head or doing it by hand, whatever way is faster. R minus S plus T equals R minus S plus T. And in this case, right, we've got the negative on the outside here. So it's going to distribute R minus S and then minus T equals R minus S plus T. This is where we get into watch out for this minus sign in front of parentheses. You always have to distribute that minus sign in front of parentheses. And that's why it's giving us R minus S plus T. That's where the difference is. This no good. A and B is your correct answer. Okay. All right. Next one here. Okay. To buy a membership at a rec center, people must pay a one-time registration fee plus a regular monthly fee. The table below shows the total amount a person pays, including the registration fee for different numbers of months of membership. According to the information in the table, which of the following statements is true? All right, here's our table. We got all our information here, and then we need to go through and we need to figure out what they're asking. So we're looking for which of the following is true. So that means 3 of these are wrong. 1 of them is true. So we've got the monthly fee is $50. The monthly fee is $37. The registration fee is $75. The registration fee is $50. Okay. So how do we figure this out? Just like we did with that graph, you can do the same thing with the chart. This right here is going to be your monthly fee. This is going to be your registration. This is always referred to as your one-time. So in math questions for these tests, they're going to say you have a gym membership and you pay a monthly fee of $20. So you always start no matter how many months you go, you have to pay, or yeah, registration. I think I said registration. You have a registration fee of $100. That means you always start at $100, no matter if you do 0 months or 10 years, but you have to start at that 100. That's the Y-Intercept. Then your monthly fee is how much you pay per month. So what we need to figure out is your monthly fee and your registration. We can find the monthly fee by figuring out the pattern, right? This would be your X and this would be your Y. If you can find out the pattern of this, then you'll find your slope or your monthly fee. But be careful. Remember, we have, in order to find the monthly fee, and if you want, I can, let me rewrite it again. Got Y equals MX plus B. Just know that this is our monthly registration. Here's what I want to figure out. I want my slope M. Ooh, geez. M is equal to Y divided by X. And it's the difference in Y and X. So let's just do this. From 150 to 200 is $50, right? From 4 to 6 is 2. So that's 50, that's 2. If you do that, we'll do 25. So that means our monthly fee is $25. So do you see a monthly fee of $25 anywhere? No, you don't, because the only monthly fees they give you are 50 and 37.50. So A and B are out. Now, what we need to figure out is our Y-intercept, or just back it up. So what do I mean by backing it up? If I know that it's $25 per month, okay? So if I know, you can figure it out by inputting it, just like the problem here. So Y equals MX plus B. So if I know that for 4 months, I pay $150 at 4 months at $25 a month, plus my B here, that's my fee. How do I figure that out? Well, that's 100 plus B equals 150. Subtract 100, 50 equals B. 50 is our fee. If we look, the only one that has 50 as our fee is D. Okay. So that's how you figure that out that way. Or if you back it up, this is 150. So remember, just bring this to 0 months. So if it's $25 per month, okay, so 25, this would, then the next one's going to be 125. I don't have enough room here. Let me do this. So at 3, it's going to be 125. At 2, it's going to be 100. At 1, it's going to be 75. And at 0, it's going to be 50. Does that make sense? So 0 months at 50, because it's 25 from where we started. That's my, no matter what, you pay $50. Even though you worked out 0 months, you pay $50. That's your fee. Then from that point, it goes up $25 each month. That's why you see it goes 75, 100, 125, right? This would be 175, which means the next one would be 200. Makes sense? And then 225, remember, there's a distance bigger here than there is here. So just be careful reading these charts because they jump numbers around. If, you know, it would make it a lot easier, and just be mindful. If this were 0, 1, 2, and 3, then we can figure everything out right away. All right. Okay. All right. Almost done here. Okay, next one. Which statement best describes how the volume of a cube changes when the edge length is doubled to form a new cube? So it's a good question. And I think you pretty much see this type of question on all math, because they want you to understand how this sort of thing works. So we have a cube and it's a volume and we double it in length. So everybody knows what a cube is. Just like that, rough drawing, and then I'll draw a bigger one. Doesn't matter. Here's our cube again. Okay. And they say, well, what happens when you change it? Okay. The volume of the cube is 1/2. The volume of the cube is that. So understand, if I do, and this makes sense, if I double something, are you going to make it bigger or are you going to make it smaller? And so anything that's less than 1, right, a fraction, is going to make something smaller. So if the volume of the new cube is 1/2, how would 1/2 make something bigger? And so that doesn't work. And then this is 1/4, same thing. We don't want it smaller, we want it bigger. So now we deal with 8 and we deal with 4. And so how do we figure out what's going to happen here? And the way that we want to see what happens is we've got, let's just pick any random number. So we've got 2, because let's make it easier. So if I have 2, 2, and 2, right? So then I will do 2 cubed. Well, some of you might not have that on there. So I'll do 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. Well, if I double the length, 4, 4, and 4, 4 times 4 times 4 is equal to 64. So now just take this value over this value. So 64 over 8 gives me 8. So 8 is going to be the answer. You can do it with any number of values, okay? And the trick is this doubled here. When you double something, what do? You multiply it by 2. Well, the thing about cubes is, how do you find the volume of a cube? It's x to the 3rd power. Well, if we are doing our doubled, right? So if I did x to the 3rd power, you always have a 2 now. It's like 2x to the 3rd power. No matter what your x is, you doubled it. So it can be anything. 2 to the 3rd power is 8. So it's going to be 8x. I should have done that. 2 to the 3rd power, that's 8x. So 8, whatever your value is here, x to the 3rd power, 8x. That's how we get times 8. Okay. And then the last one we've got, Lorraine wants to paint the 4 rectangular walls of a room, including the door. The room is 18 feet long and 12 feet wide, and the walls are 10 feet high. What is the total area that will be painted? Okay. So what we have to do is we have to visualize this room, and we have a room that is 18 feet long and 12 feet wide. And then, oops, no. Okay. 18 feet long, 12 feet wide, paint 4 rectangular rooms. It's a room, right? So what I'm going to do is, well, because I'm not good at the 3-dimensional spot, but if I were looking down, bird's eye view, okay, your room is a rectangle. It's going to be 18 feet long. It's going to be 12 feet wide. And then there's going to be a height involved. All of it's going to be 10 feet tall. So that can be hard to visualize. So if you think of a room, right, let's just unwrap it. So there's 4 walls. So let's do this, and let's just segment it into 4, okay? It's 18 feet by 12 feet. So that means 18 feet by 12 feet. And then the other side is 18 feet by 12 feet. Does that make sense? And then the whole thing is 10 feet tall, right? It said including the door. So let's just pretend that the door is in this one. Not a big deal. So just understand what I did is I unwrapped the room. So now what you can do one of two things. You can say, okay, multiply it. So I got 180 here, 120 here, 180 here, 120 here, add them all up, and you'll get, right, 180. Come on. 180 plus 120 plus 180 plus 120 equals 600. And 600 is your answer, right? Or you can take same thing, same concept. You look at it and you say, okay, it's really one big rectangle. It's four small rectangles, but now that I know what their values are, it's one big rectangle. So I can do 18 plus 12 plus 18 plus 12. That gives me 60. And then times 10 gives me 600. And I still get the same answer. Okay. It's a matter of what is easiest for you. And so that is how you find the area of that room with all four walls that you've got to paint. Okay. 600 is our answer. Whew. Okay. Got through that one, huh? All right. Again, this is all just kind of an informal session. So it's good that I kind of screwed up on, I think those two problems there, and that's okay. All right. Because this is why we study. This is why we go over these problems, because once we make that mistake once, then chances are you're going to be heads up for when a problem like that comes across and you say, okay, let me just double check myself. So last page is always the answers. Let me go ahead. Number 4 is not B. Number 4 should be 544. So if you're watching this on the recording and you can't understand why you're not getting number 4 right, if you didn't see me do it before, then that's what happened, is we had a little boo-boo on that problem. Let me check comments. Doesn't look like anybody has commented. So let's go ahead and yeah, okay. Got a thumbs up, but I think that was just gratuitous. All right, guys, that's it for today. If you need to contact me, if you have any questions whatsoever, info@kathleenjasper.com. All right. All the links are in. If you're watching the video, you'll find a way to get to us. kathleenjasper.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the major socials. You'll find a way to get in touch with me. Send me your questions, send me your problems. That's why I'm here every Tuesday night, to help you out with math, to kind of guide you through those problems that you're having issues with. So I hope everybody has a great week. Make sure you guys are getting ready to take your certification exams. If you haven't already, get that date set, sign up for the test, give yourself a goal to work towards, to make yourself study, and then pass these tests, get them done before the summer so you can get everything set for next year, do what you got to do, and just get it out of the way. And then also, for those of you that need to get it done before a deadline in June, beginning of July, also make sure time, it's already almost the end of April. Next thing you know, it's May, then June, and you run out of time. So make sure you all are getting that done. With that being said, have a great week, and I will see you all next Tuesday. Take care, everybody.